protected by the immunization? The answer is no. Okay, so you know that there are some diseases the some of the diseases that can be prevented, that infectious diseases can be prevented. uh, so if you are preventing that infectious disease, then there is no chances to cause the disease. Okay, so now thing is that how you can prevent the such kind of a diseases. So for that you must to get a clean water. As we know that many of the infectious diseases are transmitted only by the the water which is not of a good quality, the water which is mixed by the another sewage, that is a domestic sewage, and because of that the infectious particles are reached to the population, and that's why the many people are suffering from the diseases. But if you are getting the such clean quality of the water, then you will not going to be suffering from the disease. Okay, then at the same time, if you have maintained the good hygienic practices, if you maintain the good hygiene practices, ultimately you will not getting the in contact with the infectious diseases. Okay, then at the same time you must to take a nutritional material. Whatever the food we are eating, it should be of a nutritional. If you are not getting the proper quality of food, that can also hamper on the your immune system. Okay, and ultimately it will be because of the infectious diseases. So that person, if you are suffering, if you are getting infected by the any particle, that can be causes the disease. Okay, so if you are getting the good quality of water, if you are maintain the good hygienic condition, if you are getting the proper food, nutritional food, then also you can prevent the infection. Then at the same time, as I told you that the all infectious diseases cannot need to be vaccinated. Okay, now the thing is that the what kind of such diseases, for that we does not need to take a vaccine. Like the best example is nothing but every year, or in a year, 1 to 2 times we are suffering from the common cold. Okay, so for the common cold, does we are taking the vaccine? So there is no need of the vaccination, because after 5 days, as we know that if you are taking the medicine, after 4 days you will recover. But if you are not taking the any kind of the medicine, even though on the basis of your own immune response, you can recover from that infection. That is called as a self-limiting diseases. Okay, so that disease can be cured on your own. So for such kind of disease, you does not need to take a vaccine. Okay, at the same time, there is another type of the diseases. Even though the vaccination can be developed, but it cannot be maintained. Okay, or it cannot be effective of the proper immune response against that particular virus or that particular microorganism. Okay, so in that condition, even though the vaccination program you are carried out, even though you are developing the vaccine, but that vaccine is not effective against that particular entities. Okay, so in all the such cases, okay, is it the only the vaccination is the option? No, you can go through the all these way, and you can prevent the infectious diseases. Okay, at the same time, as you know that it's supposed to be for the infectious diseases, if the vaccine is not there, does it mean that you are not getting treated the such kind of infectious diseases? If you know that in the 1920, one major breakthrough is there in a medical science for the control of such kind of the diseases. Okay, and that is nothing but the antibiotics. Okay, so at that time the antibiotic has been developed, and nowadays, as we know that the many antibiotics, more than 100 antibiotics are available to treat the such kind of infectious diseases. Okay, but again, in certain condition you will observe you have an antibiotic, but you cannot treat the such kind of infections, like in case of the influenza. Why the influenza cannot be treated even though antiviral drugs are available, but we are not succeed to control the such kind of infection, and at the same time we are also not succeed to get or to develop the vaccine against it. Why? Because that pathogen has a different kind of abilities, like they undergoes the antigenic rift or the antigenic drift. Okay, so because of that antigenic drift and all, they have carried out various variation in their antigenic structure. So even though if the one time the one virus is enter, the second time the another type of the virus is enter, so whatever immunity is developed against the first one, that cannot be controlled the virus which is enter in a second time. So because of that, in such conditions also, vaccination is not an option to control, because you know that in case of the influenza, every year you have to take a new vaccine, because every year the new variant is enter, and against that you don't have the immune response, so you have to develop the variety of the you know that the vaccines for that, and every year you have to take it, but you don't know at what time the which kind of you know that pathogen will be enter, what type of variant will be enter in your body. Okay, at the same time, you, as I told you that vaccine immunology is not just not nothing but the vaccination, because there are the something where you can apply the some molecules, okay, the something which is present, or some type of you know the diseases, some kind of other things which can also be controlled by the some of the molecules which plays a role in case of immune system. Okay, now the thing is that what are those molecules which plays an important role in a control of the such kind of things. Okay, so the best example is nothing but if you have a snake bite. Okay, so if you have a snake bite, does it you have to go for the vaccination for that? No, the vaccination is not a choice for that, but the molecule of immune response is an important to control that snake bite. Okay, so at that time the activation of the immune response is not important, but whatever the molecule which is produced against that, that time it has to be injected, otherwise that person will be not treated and it will be not live, it will be a death of that person will be takes place. Then in case of the cancer, as you know that in case of the cancer you have to apply the certain molecules to control that cancer. Okay, you know that the allergic conditions, in case of the allergic condition you have to take some molecules which are from the immune response origin which can control the allergic conditions. So it is just immunology is just not related to the infectious diseases and the vaccination, it is much more than that. Okay, so in due course of the time, overall when we are going to study we'll see in detail about that, what is the cancer and all the things. Okay, now we'll move towards the next point of our discussion is nothing but the immunity involves the both humoral and the cellular components. Okay, the immunity involves both humoral and the cellular component. Now the thing is that when we have started the you know when we have seen the history of immunology, at that time we have seen there are the variety of the scientists which plays very important role in the development of an immunology. Okay, so in that the Pasteur already showed that the vaccination is worked. Okay, to activate the immune response, for that the vaccination is work, but he did not understand how. So the Pasteur has proposed when he had controlled the cholera, he had controlled the anthrax, he has controlled the rabies. Okay, it is controlled by the vaccination. He knows that vaccination is worked, but he don't know the how it works. Okay, so the some scientists they worked on that. Okay, and they have carried out the variety of the experiment. Okay, and they have found that so whenever you carried out the vaccination in an individual, okay, there is something which is going to be activated and which is going to be produced. So because of that, the you know that person is protected against that infectious entity. Okay. Now the thing is that what is that produced? Okay, so the some scientists have said that there is some soluble molecules are released when the vaccination is carried out. The soluble molecules are produced, and that soluble molecules can take care of that